Francophone Africa has seen many changes over the last year. From coups to a continued rise in militant attacks, the region's relationship with its former colonial master, France, is also changing. CGTN's Asta breaks this down for us.
2021 was quite the year for Franco-Africa relations. In the Sahel, France announced a major change to how it would support countries in their fight against terrorism. France entered the region in 2013 when it helped Mali quell a growing insurgency in the country's north. This year it announced that it would close down Opération Barkhane in the first quarter of 2022. It pledged to maintain a military presence in the region, looking to find other partners to support its efforts in the Sahel. Mali, led by a military junta, began seeking partnerships of their own, engaging with the private Russian security firm Wagner. France strongly condemned the move.
France has learned lessons from the Wagner Group's involvement in the Central African Republic, where it was more or less caught by surprise, and saw these companies getting involved in the CAR alongside the Russian government's involvement, and there France was caught by surprise, which is something clearly the French government would like to avoid. Hence, these very vocal opposition towards the Wagner Group.
France has for long maintained a strong sphere of influence over its former colonies. Anti-government protests have grown this year in countries such as Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Local populations have expressed frustrations at not only a lack of progress on the war against terrorism, a weak economy, but also France's involvement in their respective countries.
It has to do with the modes of engagement of France in post-independence Africa. France is an actor in French-speaking Africa. As much as it could be a collateral damage, but France is also an actor. We know France commands a lot of influence in French-speaking countries. Sometimes this influence is a bit exaggerated, as at least as the way it is perceived in African public opinions. But the reality is that France had been, for the longest time, the most important trade partners of many French-speaking countries.
While this may have been the case, Francophone Africa has continued to show a willingness to engage with other partners.
What we see in Mali today is an attempt by an African country also to diversify its security partners to the ire of France. So it's a process that will have ups and downs, but I think France is becoming lesser and lesser influential in many African countries. And this is a fact that the French government will have to take into account.
France has over the past year made overtures to reshape its relations with Africa. This includes hosting the France-Africa Summit in the French city of Montpellier. No African leaders were present. Instead, members of Africa's civil society, artists, entrepreneurs were among those invited. The French presidency said the summit looked to give Africa's youths a voice, and indeed young Africans held French President Emmanuel Macron to task. As we head into 2022, it remains to be seen whether this and other efforts will be enough to maintain France's influence in the region. For now, I'm Asta with CGTN in Nairobi, Kenya.